Hi, and welcome back to my channel. I hope this is enough light. I mean, it's the afternoon, but hopefully that's a little bit better. There we go. Okay, so this is going to be the beginning of another hair vlog. So I ended the last one saying I was going to straighten my hair, which I did earlier this morning. It is Saturday. I did film that. So I think that'll be like an in between video between the first hair vlog and this hair vlog. It's a very short video. And basically what I did yesterday on my wash day is after I washed and conditioned, I used up the last bit of that Briogeo Curl Charisma leave-in. Just a little bit like in each section, and then I used a fairly generous amount of that Briogeo Style and Treat oil in each section, and then I just put them like in really big jumbo twists. And then what I did this morning was I took the twist down, and it'll be in that video of me straightening my hair. I just combed them out, and then I used my Tymo straightening comb to straighten it. Now, these are the results, and if I'm being honest, they look the exact same as when I blow my hair out before I do it. And it's one of those things too, where it's like with the Tymo ring, which I think I mentioned in my review of the Tymo ring, this is not a straightening comb that's going to get your hair bone straight. That is not the goal. So like the highest temp that it goes up to is 410, which is the one they recommend for curly hair, which is the one that I used. And I don't know, I think the only difference, like in terms of like how it looks, it doesn't look a whole lot different, and it's not like completely straight at my roots. I really tried to get my nape, and the only reason I really tried to get my nape is I just like the sensation of pulling back there, not because I necessarily care that it's super straight, because usually when your hair reverts, your nape and edges are the first to go anyway. So, but what I did notice doing it on just like, you know, stretched combed out hair versus like blown out hair, it's a little bit harder when you get down to the ends, but other than that, it's like the ends don't ever get like super smooth. And I think that's because with the straightening comb, it's not quite like a hot comb where it's like the back of a hot comb is usually is the part that's supposed to get your hair straight. Your hair really has to be in between the teeth, and even then, it's not something that gets like your ends super straight, which is fine because I'm just gonna put some more oil on it tonight, and then I think I'm gonna use my flexi rods, and it'll be fine. But yeah, so this is it. Um, when I straighten my hair, because I like to do it like at the end of the month, so when I straighten it out, because today is November 1st, when I straighten it out at the end of the month, which will probably be somewhere around Thanksgiving, I might blow it out first, but I won't like get it like super like stretched, and then we'll go from there, because I also think that it came out pretty good too, because I used that Style and Treat oil, which is also a heat protectant. Yeah, heat protectant. Yeah, it came out pretty decent. Like I said, I'll put the flexi rods in, wear it for a week. We'll check in throughout the week, because some of the days I'll be using the flexi rods, some of the days I'll probably just be like twisting it up. But yep, this is it. I do like the way it turned out. But yeah, now once I get to the end of the week, I will definitely check back in, just, you know, make sure my hair reverted properly. But yeah, start of a new hair vlog. Hey, so just checking back in. This is the evening, and these are the flexi rods that I have in my hair, which I talked about in my review for the Tymo ring. But anyway, and it's always like a learning curve every time I put them in, like to get them twisted up. I don't know. Maybe it's because they're like a silk or satin, whatever it is, instead of like the kind of foam ones. But anyway, so I will probably do this for like a couple of days and then just put it like in braids to sleep in. But anyway, usually I use like my slap cap as my bonnet, but when I straighten my hair and do this, I put on this bigger bonnet from swirly curly. And you know what? I thought she was like going out of business, but then like I keep getting emails like they're not, like they still have inventory, so I have no idea. Anyway, but like it snaps in the back so you can adjust it, but it's oh, look at me putting this on backwards. It's really big. So yeah. So this is how I will sleep. And I will check back in tomorrow when I take the flexi rounds out and see if I have, some waves, because I think using the oil helped me get it just a little bit straighter. Because I remember, like earlier, I said like it didn't look too different, but I guess we're gonna see in the morning. Hi, so today is Sunday. Happy Sunday. So this is my hair after taking the flexi rods out. I thought it was gonna look different than it normally does. It doesn't. It looks about the same when I take them out. Yeah. This part of my hair and my edges wasn't even super straight yesterday, so I'm not surprised that it's a little wavy today. And of course my nape. But other than that, came out pretty good. And I will just keep putting the flexi rods in until I don't feel like doing it anymore. But this is the day after. I think it came out pretty nice. So, like I said, today is Sunday, and you know how people talk about like getting the Sunday scaries because you don't want to go to work on Monday? It's not even that. I have like two separate forms of anxiety. So I have like the normal anxiety. Well, it's not normal. The anxiety of like, oh, tomorrow's Monday, I gotta go to work. But then I just have the general anxiety that's just there, like all the time. I've never been a fan. Well, not necessarily a fan. It's just Thanksgiving has never been like a distinguishable holiday for me. Like I remember Thanksgiving as a kid, but it's not like, it's never been a favorite holiday, mostly because I really don't like holiday food, Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas dinner. I don't like those foods. So it's not something like I looked forward to every year in terms of like, especially because like Thanksgiving, it really is just the food. At least Christmas, you get presents and all that. But yeah, so I've never really been into it, and about, it'll be 2 years now, a family member had a really bad health crisis the week after Thanksgiving. So now I have like anxiety around this time of year, just thinking of something like that happening again. And recently I've developed a type of anxiety that's kind of like superstitious, kind of ritualistic, I think, where I don't even like to wear like the same clothing or eat the same food that I did surrounding something like that. So like there's this particular like frozen pizza that I like to get, and around the time that happened to my family member, it felt like, and I know this is an exaggeration, but it felt like every time I ate it, that family member would feel sick again and have to go to the hospital. So now I hardly ever eat it because I think, oh, if I get this, something bad's gonna happen. I even do that with clothing. Like, I know that saying that is not healthy. I do have diagnosed general anxiety. So, like I said, this particular time of year, the anxiety is already there. And then just the anxiety of the world. If there's a worst case scenario that you can think of, I've thought of it over these past few months. And I feel like, everybody's talking about like how things are going to get worse. Yes, I know that, but I don't tend to think of like a specific thing getting worse. For me, it's just like, it just is going to get worse. And no matter how much you brace for it or prepare for it, it's just coming. Which might be why I like those Final Destination movies so much, because it's like, yeah, there is no preparation for the horrible. The horrible just happens. By the way, I don't know if it's healthy, but I've also been watching like Final Destination 4 and Final Destination 5 like over and over again. I don't want to call Final Destination movies comfort movies, but again, entertainment is entertainment. But it kind of reminds me, there was a period in my grandmother's life when she was still teaching where after work every day, throughout the year, not even just at Christmas. She would come home and watch Home Alone like every day after work, just because she just liked it. It was a comfort movie. She'd come home from work, get her a Pepsi with 2 ice cubes, and watch Home Alone. And for whatever reason, at this moment, that's where I am. If I feel like watching Final Destination 4, I watch Final Destination 4. If I feel like watching Final Destination 5, I watch Final Destination 5. That's my coping mechanism. But anyway, since my hair probably isn't going to do much, it's not going to do anything different, I'll probably check in closer to the end of the week when I'm getting ready to do it again. And I also think, even though I've been wearing my hair in twists a lot, that I am going to do a wash and go, just because when you revert your hair, I kind of just want to see that it's like reverted. And I think the best way to see that is when you do a wash and go. So I'll check back in later in the week. Hey, so this is a quick check-in. Today is Tuesday, and I actually did something that I usually don't do, which is I kind of retouched my edges a little bit. So I used my Tymo straightening comb. I did not turn it all the way up to the highest heat. And then I just, I put the heat protectant on my edges, but I just kind of like touched my edges up a little bit, and I tried to get my nape just a little bit straighter. Mostly just for sensory purposes, not because I actually care about what it looks like, if that makes any sense. But I've been wearing my Flexi Rods for past 3 days. I am done because last night was too convoluted to get them in, so I will be just doing like braids or whatever to sleep in under my bonnet. But yeah, today is election day, and what a year. What a 12 months from this time last year. Disappointed and disillusioned doesn't even begin to cover it. And the amount of like anxiety through the roof. But what can you do? Anyway, I voted absentee. Where I live, we don't have any elected officials on the ballot. It was just a proposal for our city. Same thing as this summer, just like proposals, but everything is important. So yeah, I voted by absentee last weekend, and yeah. Hi, and happy Thursday. So this is my check-in for today, and tomorrow is Friday, which will be my wash day. So this is my last check-in before that. And I have to say, my hair held up pretty well this week, and I think it's a combination of it being the fall. This is the first time I've straightened my hair in the fall. The first time I did this year was in spring, then again in April, which, if you know Michigan, those months are still pretty cold here. And then I went and got my hair trimmed and blown out in May, and then I just came home and straightened it, but obviously I didn't film or post anything from that. So this is the fourth time, this year that I've straightened my hair. Like I said, I think it did hold up a little bit better just because it's less humid. Also, I will say, one of the things with that Tymo ring is it's kind of hard to get your ends smooth, but using the Briogeo oil has made my hair like super soft this week, including the ends. And even though I said I was going to give up on using those Flexi Rods after a couple of days, I actually have been using them all week, except for tonight. I won't. But yeah, so it turned out nice. It turned out nice enough that for about 2 seconds I thought maybe I should stretch this, but then I have to remember, as much of a novelty as it is for me to see my hair this way, I have grown to prefer my hair in its curly natural state. So we're not going to be keeping this, mostly because it just reminds me of what I looked like when I was in college. And it's not to say I don't like what I looked like when I was in college, but it is just kind of weird. Like, I don't want to look like I looked when I was 22. I kind of want to weigh what I weighed when I was 22, but that's another story. But yeah, let me see if I can find a picture from me in college. Okay, yeah, so this is my senior picture from undergrad. So this is from 2008. I was 22. And this is when my hair was relaxed, actually. So this is actually kind of a fun comparison. So you can see, this is my natural hair, just straightened with a straightening comb. This is what my hair looked like, relaxed. And the crazy thing is this is one of the reasons why I will always make the argument for just doing a big chop and cutting your hair off. Because if you are concerned with growing your hair out, my hair is literally almost the same length it was back then. Like, and that wasn't even like a goal of mine, like to grow it back out to this length. And I don't know. I just really wish we would free ourselves from worrying about growing our hair out and then worrying about definition. But that's a hope. Not doubt it's gonna happen. Anyway, 22-year-old Brittany. God, I wish I could go back and tell her. Actually, I'd have to go further back to 18-year-old Brittany. Do not major in theology. But here we are anyway. So, yeah. But, yeah, this is the Thursday after this year's election. Cautiously optimistic, but it is what it is. Anyway, and I've been watching like these overconsumption videos about the holiday. Or holidays rather. And it's funny because they did start putting Christmas stuff out in October. And like, you know, my family doesn't celebrate Halloween, so, and we do have like fall decorations. So like we have like a fall wreath and a fall mat that we put out in September. And then I noticed my mom tried to put out like a centerpiece from some other stuff we had, and I'm like, yeah, that's not gonna go. We need more fall themed stuff. So what I did that first weekend of October, which was like 88 degrees here in Michigan, random. Anyway, I went and bought us some more fall decor. Not a lot, just some to go with what we already had. So I just got us a new like centerpiece for our dining table and a few decorative pumpkins, not a lot. And just a sign that says like harvest. And see, that already goes with what we already have, which is we have a cornucopia. And we already have other kind of like fall decorative little things. That have like apples and squash, you know, that type of thing. Fall fruits and vegetables, and pumpkins. And so because we don't really celebrate Halloween, those decorations, we have them up all October, and then we'll have them up all this month in November, just for the fall, for 2 whole months, which I kind of like. And also because it acknowledges Thanksgiving, which people just love to skip over. Because I saw people talking about they putting up their decorations on November 1st. Now, I have no problem with putting up decorations after Thanksgiving, but I can't be having no Christmas tree up for 2 whole months. Like, Anyway, but yeah, and I did go and get some Christmas decorations. Again, not a lot of things, just a couple of things to add to what we already have, because some of them are old and broken because we've had them for 10 plus years. So unfortunately, we don't have anything from my childhood anymore, but these are things that we have had for, like I said, 10 plus years, which I think is pretty good. But yeah, I just bought a few things to go on one of our bookshelf mantles that we decorate, and our 2 like end tables in the living room, and then everything else will be decorated with stuff we already have. I kind of started off with a big list and then scaled it like all the way down. And yeah, I did go like, I think it was like that last full weekend of October to buy these things, but I kept thinking I was gonna go get more, but it's creepy to go to stores now. I'm sorry. So I thought I was gonna get some more stuff. Highly doubtful. Also, there's just like a bunch of things I thought I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go get that. I'm not. This is just not that time economically, financially, to just be like, oh, I'm gonna go get. No. The only thing I do actually need, which I kept meaning to get all last winter, is I do need new winter gloves. So I will be getting those. But other than that, I just want to rest these holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas, and not worry, which is hard for me because I just have such anxiety around my parents and their health now. But whatever. Anyway, but yeah, I'll check back in tomorrow before my wash day. And like I mentioned, that I am going to do a wash and go. I'm still trying to decide whether I'm just going to do one with just the smoothing pudding from Mono's Hair, in which case it'll be less of a wash and go and more finger coils, or if I'm going to just use that as my moisturizer and then use my foam to do the wash and go. But we'll see. But anyway, I will check back in on tomorrow, Friday. Hey, and we're back. So today is Friday. Today was my wash day. As you can see, my hair is completely reverted back to its curly state, and it is in a wash and go, as I mentioned. I can't remember. I think it's been like a couple of months since I did a wash and go. Maybe since September. I think, yeah, since September. Anyway, so it is in a wash and go. I did go ahead and use the Mono's Hair Smoothing Pudding. It is just like a moisturizer. And then I use my ORS Curl Mousse to kind of mostly shingle, a little bit of coiling in the front. Just because it's like this part is the part that I really have to work to get definition in. But interestingly enough, when I straighten it, it's the part that straightens the easiest. I don't know. Anyway, so we're back to this wash and go, but then after that, I will be back to my twist. But yeah, the straight hair is like a novelty for me at this point. This is pretty much what I've grown accustomed to, and I'm really looking forward to going really short again in my 40s. But I'll give, having my hair this length a couple more years. But anyway, that ends this week and this hair vlog. And by the time this goes up, it'll be close to Thanksgiving. And I'll be gearing up to do my holiday movie reviews for the month of December for Christmas. I have a lineup of movies that I want to talk about for Christmas. I'm kind of excited about that. But yeah. Thanks for watching.